Okay. Do you hear me? The Zoom guys? Any thumbs up? Okay, perfect. So let me continue. So the summary for people who has just started to hear us, it is a very important thing. It is everywhere. Believe me, I will show you some examples. Working? Do you hear me better? Yes, it works. I will not shout. So I will directly jump in syntax. There is some basic stuff you need to know to understand its power. And afterwards, we will see some examples. So we have a set of characters that help us to define the syntax. Like when I say I want only slow, or I want words that have a hyphen in between, or maybe this hyphen is optional. So how I would express this pattern, these rules, we call that basic rules. So anything you put between square brackets, treat it as one single character, independent of it. If I write A, B, C, D, this means it should match A or B or C or D. Their sequence doesn't mean anything. When you have this one and the range is a defined meaningful thing like numbers, one sequence of numbers, this means all digits from 0 to 9. This can be from 0 to 5 as well if you want this range. And this is only a shortcut. Instead of writing all possible digits, which may sound easy, but it is much harder for all letters, all emojis. So these ranges help us to be a bit more, to briefly or easily write these regular expressions. This one means lowercase letters, all lowercase letters. Mostly, yeah, I will not go in complicated stuff for now. I talked about this. And here, when I say those characters are part of the syntax, but if I want to match a dot, for instance, so I want to recognize 3 dots. In this case, if I put this dot in a square bracket, it loses its spatial meaning. So it is treated only as a dot, literally. But outside, if I put it here, it would be one of these characters and any other character. So anything in these square brackets loses its spatial meaning, if any. Yeah. What if you know what you don't want? So you don't know what you may find in the text, but you don't want, for instance, 5. So this one would match anything but 5. If you put additional stuff, it would be anything and 5, anything and 4, anything but 3, whatever you put in it. So you exclude things. And this provides you, like, we always work with what we know. And this will help you to discover what you don't know in your collections. So what happens if I want to match a dot or square bracket? So this is part of the syntax, and Python engine or regular expression engines treat them as part of the syntax, part of the rule. So what if I want to match this square bracket? If I am searching for anything that is in square brackets, then we call it escaping it. And when you put this one backslash in front of any special character, then it is treated as its literal meaning. Try and error, because you are trying to define characters with characters and rules. This can be sometimes tricky. So how would you put a square bracket inside this rule? So there are small gotchas, they are sweet. So we have other shortcuts. So this is all alphanumeric characters. It can be a letter, it can be a digit, and these two characters together mean have a meaning. So separately, they don't have any. When they are together, they have one. They are a single one character, and any of those lowercase from A to Z, uppercase digits, and underscore. I don't know why we have underscore. It has historical reasons. This is except there's such a pattern. There are many type of shortcuts, and the lowercase means something, and the uppercase means the reverse most of the time. And with this one, you will match mostly punctuation marks, for instance. Or you may try to see whether this matches emojis. This is another thing, like when you want to enforce word boundaries. So representative, I am searching for representative, but the text contains unrepresentative as well. So I would start with this character and say representative, and then this unrepresentative, like words that doesn't start with representative, they would not match. I will not get these results. And this is you can enforce on both on left and right. Those are shortcuts. You should look at the documentations. I will provide a page for official documentation. There are many shortcuts. There are flags as well. I will talk to them. Any comment or question?
For example, for many text mining packages in R, there are just arguments, Google words or something like that. Can you directly insert these regular expressions called in these arguments, and the algorithm can understand this? Yeah, I mean that they are global and can be used in every package.
The library, the package should be ready to get them. So if there's a respective parameter, for instance, when you create a word cloud and you don't say anything, okay, I need my text and default parameters word, and you get a word cloud. Most probably there is some regular expression that says use this pattern as a word. And if you know the name of this parameter and you change it, you give it when you call it, like you give the regular expression in addition to your text collection, then you can modify it. But not always, if they don't put if library designers doesn't allow this parameter to be changed, then you will need to go to the source code and you will create your own version.
Most of the time they have some religious words, for example, like you just write words you really don't want, like remove from the data, for example. And for example, may I use these shortcuts and tell the program that I don't want these exceptions in my data?
Why I say this magic like
I think that this generate one.
you can do what you will. It is really the more you the more specific you write. If you know what you want, you insert okay, bring me those. If you don't know what you want, that say bring me except these things. Or the account pattern in machine learning, like there is a simple thing like this one. You put a plus, which means one or more. I will come to this, and then it brings you only character sequences that consist of letters and digits, and that is it. Anything else, unreadable characters, are ignored. I will move a bit because a couple of slides to at least give an overview of all possible the basic syntax. So we have a star and a plus, and star means for the preceding pattern, this is a single pattern, 0 or more. So this one would match, if it is 0, this pattern would match AB in a sequence. It may match A, B, B, A, B, 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 infinite number, and it should end with B. This is plus 1 or more, so it doesn't accept the 0 thing. You should have a string that starts with A and B, but must contain any combination of these characters. At least one should have. Can be only C, only D. Those are tools, but you define the rules based on your needs. This is 0 or more, 0 or 1. Like when I say the words with a hyphen, multi-word expressions. And sometimes they are written based on the direct use or knowledge of who writes it. You may leave it as an option here, and this will match both home-brief and home-brief. You can control the number of the matches, so I may allow this one to occur from 1 to 5 times, or up to 5 times, or at least 3 times. It is all controlled with this. You can control it, or leave it infinite. If you know the exact number you want, it can be like 3, 3, or you will just write it 3 times, this slash character. We have seen the option in square bracket. It is for single characters. This single character, or this single character, or this single character. But what happens if you want to have words as options? So bring me all documents or all lines that contain either row or zero. This is helpful when you have sentiment lexicons. When you have something, time expressions, you have a long list time expressions, and you want to get all of them. Maybe we pick some selection or frequency analysis. When it is not in a square bracket, this means I want to match only if a pattern occurs at the very beginning of a line. Anything in between is ignored. So, and this is at the end. So look only at the end of the tweet, document, or line. Mostly they work on lines. And if you want the regular expression to work on multiple lines, that's a flag you need to insert. And this is a group. I will come to this a bit later. So you can group things and then refer to them back. Like, okay, I want this pattern. If this pattern occurs twice, bring it to me. Here I will only mention the names. You can design patterns based on their what is preceding or following. You can group things and create a dictionary, or you can directly put organize your text in pandas columns, for instance, or in a dictionary. You can reach them with a name. I have some examples for it. And non-capturing group, when you don't need to group, you will not keep this information and it will be much faster. So when you have a long pattern list, large lexicon most of the time, and you are processing millions of documents, it will take either 5 days or 5 hours. That's such trade-offs you may come across. Or you would leave only one single group you are interested in, and you will ignore the rest. Like, don't keep this information in memory. Don't do any additional processing for this. Here I will not talk about those, but what I have just said, this basic syntax is almost universal, maybe universal, and you can use it anywhere you come across regular expressions. The rest is a bit more, the syntax may differ, the possibility or it may not be sometimes supported. Look ahead, look behind, it's not common in some basic engines. So therefore, for here, they are just names here for you. I will have examples later. So we talked about patterns. We have patterns, we create patterns. What are the possible patterns? But what can you do with these patterns? You can search. I kept saying link documents. You can replace, for instance, you may say for any this kind of word, put another one. We do it for digits sometimes. So instead of using 5, 10, you write it in digits. Wherever you see the digit, change it. And your feature space in a machine learning setting may be a bit simpler. You can split it to directly put in a pandas data frame, or create a list, or ignore some parts. So when I have some text that is consists of some unrelated column, I will define pattern of this column and I will split on it, and it will be ignored, and left and right would be used by me. Again, those are the most basic operations. You apply these operations using patterns. There are more specific operations as well, and again, those are a bit more platform specific. Whether you match only the single match, whether you get all matches, it depends on your software design. Another crucial or essential component is the flags. So you can tell the regular expression engine to ignore a case or be sensitive to the case. Like, I want course that has a pattern of a named entity. So if I come across word sequences that start with a proper case, then I will get that. Again, I will show you some example. Local area search. For Turkish, we have this kind of issues, but it's being resolved as far as I know, but I tried it, it didn't work. Maybe I had to spend a bit more time. So when I say from A to Z, will this include the Turkish specific characters, for instance? So Or would it be more generic, like it is mostly the basic setting is ASCII, English letters. Your text collection, encoding of the text collection, the characters that come there, would the specific letter in Turkish come, would a large uppercase I with a dot would match or not? So those are really tricky stuff. Another basic one, the default setting is to have regular expressions to be in one single line. Don't expect them to go to the following line, the backslash and character. You need to explicitly set it, like do the search in a multi-line setting. Couple of points. When you have a regular expression, a basic one, limited one, it is very helpful, but it may get quite unreadable, complex, undebuggable, or very easily, because no limits in how many type of strange stuff you can insert. Escaping characters is tricky. When you put a square bracket in a square bracket, it may not work as you at first try it. Another thing, how would you escape the escape character? So how would you match the backslash? You would need, in Python, sometimes it's 4 characters to escape or match one single character. Here's this kind of issues. There is another surprising thing for any beginner experience you will see it. When I say a star with a dot, it goes as far as possible. And this means anything in between, maybe there is a shorter text fragment that satisfies the conditions, but it doesn't stop there. It is ready and it goes as long as it can go. So, and then maybe it may say, it didn't mention. You will put, for both of these characters or operators, you will put a question mark, like this syntax, to tell them stop at first possible text fragment or string. This is about, we call it grid image. This is the default setting. Maybe, maybe not, because there's maybe at least 10 different solid technologies around it. I talked about locale. In most of the engines, you can use regular expressions or patterns, just like I showed you, character sequences, and you will put it in the function you are calling, and it will work. But every time it will compile this one. And if you recompile it, it will be faster. And there is in Python, the compile, then you would have a ready to run pattern. When you have the speed issues, you need to compile it, use non-capturing groups. There's a couple of other tricks. I talked about this. Be careful, don't be scared. It will be worth your time. And another thing, why they are not really everywhere shining and why we are not really doing all of our technology on them, because they may get out of control or very complex. They may become very complex very easily. So any comment or question or fun or experience about the regular expression? Okay, maybe after some more examples or other stuff, we will be around anyway. Just 2 examples. There is a book from Sherlock Holmes, and I wonder what kind of entities are there. And the language helps me in Arabic or Chinese, this would not be possible. But in my setting, in a European language setting, this holds to the writing rules in a standard writing context. Bring me words that start with a capital letter, continue with lowercase, or uppercase, start with uppercase, continue with the lowercase, and lowercase can be any number of times, any number of times. Then have a space, again same thing, same type of word, but this time this is space plus additional word may repeat. Look to this group here. May repeat as many times as possible. If an entity is occurred, if an entity consists of 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. I don't need to know. Words, it will bring them, and then after extracting them, I just sorted them based on their frequency. And here I can see it is Sherlock Holmes, the United States occurred 71 times. It is in New York, this specific story, text. It is in New England and Baker Street. And even if we work with lexicons, this would be a start to your exploration. And this would be applied for words as well, or bigrams, trigrams, whatever you want. And I didn't know, I didn't need any language resource for this. I didn't know first names, last names. I didn't, this is just with the regular expression knowledge. Okay, let's do some exploration. Let's say we are looking for street names. Here I can filter those based on the streets, completely fine. But the street name may be a lowercase as well here. So I am specializing on the word street. Then I will write another pattern. It will not repeat as long as it ends with a street. I will get it. And then again, sorry. Here there is one little issue. Who can tell me? It will work, but it will miss certain type of streets. Sorry.
Tabs is the word.
This is space works, and it may miss the tab, right? I thought that
Space, I think that's space.
yeah. \s means a space, tab, and me like that. But here I don't have it. You are right.
Maybe that would be more spaces.
Or this we call it. This space is hard coded, but having the right \s form of it would make it more generic. It would allow tabs as well. It may allow multiple spaces with a star, for instance.
Half right.
Sorry?
Half right to make it possible. Spaces or spaces.
This one. This S. This is another shortcut for space characters. And let me show you with this one. Yeah. The problem, some street names may be multiple, more than 2 words. Here, the assumption is like the street names has only 1 word. So this one needs to have another plus, like the second words in previous pattern. So another danger, you may miss things and you would not know you are missing them. So therefore, it is a bit, I keep saying that the time you spend on them will be worth it. Spend time on them. It is so common, there is platforms that allows you to try your regular expressions, and then after you are sure they work, you will take them. But how I would make this one visible? Just a moment. I will just go out of the presentation mode. Please have the slides, and you will have exercises for later. I will close this presentation and show you this engine. So here you can choose what type of platform you are using, because their syntax is different. And then write your regular expression and put your string and double check whether it really works. I see it.
Yes.
Maybe I should just shift it like this. Yeah, this one. So here you choose the platform you are using, or the regular expression engine. You insert your pattern and the text, and you really validate whether it works or not. It's very useful. Otherwise, you get really crazy when you are in a notebook. Sometimes, if you are not sure about the regular expression, when my task is writing patterns, a set of patterns, I certainly use this. But for basic stuff, I don't.
There's not optional for R.
Not here. Let me see. I would be surprised if none. But you should just search for R and regular expression online, and then you will most probably find something. Once upon a time, this one didn't work very well for me for C#. I found another website or platform that was specific for C# and it worked very well. Regex R, I guess. It's maybe this is specific to. Yeah. Maybe the name, it says Regex R, but I'm not sure this R really means the R programming language. It is JavaScript here. It's options maybe. Another type. Yeah. This R doesn't mean the R programming language as far as I understood.
R.
It is. I would not expect this. It is mostly seems to be JavaScript. So I will show you. I will tell you a couple of other magic. It is all magic, guys. Yeah. Most of the time it is on Linux based servers. It's grep command, but on other platforms it's similar commands as well. With this command, you can get files or lines if they have a certain pattern. And it supports a couple of different regular expression patterns or engines. This grep is common. All Linux users are really very happy with it. All of that is it. And this Z grep is very useful for if you have a file, a zipped file that has gigabytes of data. You don't want to really extract it, or your memory will not allow you to extract it, and you can search directly with this. And you say set.
This is the function.
It's a command in Python. You can do this kind of stuff in programming environment as well, but it would require additional libraries, additional specific commands, but directly it will work. In Acrobat Reader, please go to the search. My time is really, I need to be a bit quick, I will not go there. Notepad++ is an amazing one that supports regular expressions, but many other editors are supporting them. And maybe just the basic Notepad isn't supporting them, I'm not sure. And if you want to write even higher level things, for text processing, it is code-based and it supports or based on regular expressions. There is a library by parsing, it helps you a lot. And whatever we keep saying, talking like machine learning and automation, artificial intelligence, whatever we say, the real industrial applications are still rule-based. I did 2 traineeships, both were, so they made me expert in regular expressions and rule-based, not machine learning. I had to learn it later at the university. So nothing, not something to ignore. Any comment or question? Pandas support text very well, regular expressions as well. I will go briefly on it because I still want to reach to the advanced features. It has been being improved over time. There is a new type. Before, when it first started, anything not numerical was in an object class. If you put a dictionary in a cell, it is object. If it is a string, it is object. So you could not do specific stuff, but now we have it. Operations that I say like search, match, find all, find iter are supported. You need to know the syntax. Now in new pandas versions, you can see the type. If you type my data frame.info, you will see the string object. You can convert to a string object. Before it was object. Exactly, really, it was written as object, like this. Yeah. What is happening? Yeah, this object. And you can convert it to a string. So enforcing it is helpful. Sometimes empty values may be encoded as a numpy value, np.nam. So convert it to a string, then this will become an empty string maybe. And your operations will not be interrupted due to type mismatch. You can specify the type specifically to be string. When you create this like this, it's a for example, it's not useful, but it's very useful if you read a file from outside, an external file, and you don't know what pandas did or another person did when they write this file, or when you read it, how a column is interpreted. So you may enforce everything to be a string at first. So you will stop pandas from doing anything strange. What kind of strange things may happen? In tweet IDs, because it is very long, and Python tries to put all in an integer or floating point type, it cuts arbitrary number. I saw it was 4, plus 4 characters were converted to zeros, and it was an issue. So then I started to enforce it being string. So for anything, you need to have this is a series or object or a column. You will need to this str to use any operation. There is a specified is ready to use operations, lower, convert to lowercase, convert to uppercase, get me the length of the string, many others. But there is a bit more customizable ones as well. You can strip it for a column to remove all the spaces from left and right. And it all comes after this str. Where is my str? Yeah, this one, this str. Pandas, you can chain operations. You would first strip it, then lowercase it, and replace all spaces with an underscore. So you don't need to create intermediate data frames. It's a good feature of Pandas. This is another thing. With a split, you can create a list of items if your data is not the raw text or free text. You can, from this list, you can get the first element by saying get me the first one in terms of index, not the order we see with our eyes. You can replace things. It is here, and now we start to see regular expressions. This one, if it starts with any character followed by a lowercase a, actually independent of its case, because here we set the case flag to be ignored, like it will match uppercase this as well. Or if it is a dog, it will be replaced by this XXX. And that is it. The pattern, the one, the new pattern, and it will, you modify your columns. I will go a bit faster here. If you want to match the dollar, for instance, you need to escape it. Otherwise, it will be treated as end of the line or string. You can concatenate things. Those are supportive ones as well, but supportive functions. But you can almost always insert regular expressions. So you will make your work more flexible. Again, concatenation. I am sure many of you wasn't aware of these options. I'm sorry for people who already has seen this stuff in my lectures. So repetition is good. Those are complex stuff. Yeah, and you can get the first character or second character with this one as well. You don't need to necessarily use the get, but being explicit is good as well. Use get. There is the extract one, and each of these groups here will go to a column. And if you make it a named group, the column will have a name. So your raw text immediately directly converted to a data frame with correct columns. So this is a utility of extract. And you can use all power of regular expressions here. This is the very basic thing, but you may have lexicons, and based on these lexicons, you may put a value for positive, negative for a list of tweets. Here is the named group. So you can immediately create this, just like I said, column names, and your data frame is ready. And these names can be anything. We write those, so there isn't any predefined forced thing. For the expand many parameters, please look up them. I will just continue, but same logic. Where is this? Yeah. And here you get a hierarchical representation of the columns based on, it is all based on the groups you are defining. This was very basic. This is how it starts, but you can make it as complicated as you wish. That sometimes you just stop. You can't handle all this complexity, but it's flexible. It's at your hand. And mostly when you need it, you really specialize on it, and it becomes a very happy trick you discover for your own work. The contains this, if you want to get a Boolean array for masking, so give me all tweets that contain a happy emoji, this kind of things, or any other pattern. Just imagine any pattern. You can imagine, or you can speculate. You even in a scenario that you don't know what you don't know. It will provide you the options at least, and you can sort them based on the frequency and see what is important for you and pick from them. This is Pandas guide. It is relatively new, although maybe 2-3 years has been around, but now it's more established. Please go there, at least skim it and see what is possible. Yeah, any comments or questions? Anybody has used regular expressions in a Pandas data frame? Perfect. Good. At least we have a couple of examples. So, and we encourage others to try simple, even simple stuff. Any comment or question from the online guys? Go there. Do you still hear us? Yeah, we have a yes from Hirsch. Yeah, I yes, this is the logic. You process a series with extract, and it creates new columns, and it is up to you if you want to. You don't see the question. The question: can we expand the array data in a cell in the Pandas series with Regex? You have a column that has text in it. This is how it starts. And so you can apply this Pandas specific extract, for instance. And after this operation for each cell, from each cell, you may be able to create in based on these groups 2 or 3. It is up to you. Additional columns. And this will help you organize your data or get more specific stuff. Any other comment or question? I start the last one. Not long, but the most powerful part, the part I want you to try at least. I need to deal with this. How? Let me. Yeah. Back. I have a couple of examples. There are really numerous other more specific, more useful stuff, but they are all to be discovered by you, because after the basics, the options really are infinite for a computer scientist or for a data processor. So groups, capturing, non-capturing, named groups, emojis, What is a token? What is a word? Formulate matches. How would you say in Turkish? We have type of syntax, like we can repeat words to make it a bit more sweet sometimes, or to enhance in whatever direction it's meaning, like sarı, like yellow, yellow. It will sound a bit more sweet in Turkish. Anyway, and the new Regex module that has been coming for 5 years at least, and maybe it will come in next 5 to 10 years, because these stuff are very tricky. Anyway, we know the group my Regex, and it is treated like the Python interpreter for regular expressions know, and you can reach those when you get your match in a variable and you say my match dot group, then you get these groups. So it is the default setting. You may use this syntax. Where is my syntax? To say don't capture this group. So I'm not going to use it for anything, but I may use the second group. And this is much faster than the one above. And name the group. I have an example for you just to show you how you can reach information that is useful. Just imagine you have a column that has this string for dates, and you want a separate column for each different part of it, month, day, and the year. And you can use this name the group syntax and say this is my month, this is my day, and after a comma and space, the comma is optional here. I can define more flexibility if my data is not really in a very good, if it contains variations, for instance, I can allow variations. And then I can reach it very easily, or I can create columns for it. If my processing is based on days of week, sorry, not year, days of week, but on years or days of month or month, then I can base my work on these new specific columns or this information. For data expressions, just as a side note, we have strip time and strf time. So those use these specific functions from a datetime module, but this is only an example. So those are the groups. Use them. They are really helpful. When we have problems when we don't know the characters. Even with Turkish specific characters, we have 4 or 5 Turkish specific characters, and even with this, we have not been able to solve this problem. Like when I run I look for a word pattern from A to Z. I still have a question in my mind: will it really match the Turkish ones, or how would be the Turkish specific capital I with a dot, or the lowercase I without dot? How it will really treat it? Will it skip it? So we still have not been able to solve this, and now we have this kind of characters that are really very rich. The emoji table or Unicode table contains 500,000 characters. Anybody know the exact number? I don't know, but I know it is at least hundreds of thousands. So you can't come up with their list. They use maybe specific to the culture or networks. So even you create a list, it may be incomplete. So you need to match them. It starts with like, okay, let's search for this one. How many of this appear? And when I search for it, this is Python's on Jupyter notebooks help in other settings. Maybe it will not work. But emoji as a character and it matches for me. It's good. And there is two. So for those, I will add them as options. So, and this is limited. This is hard coded. We have new type of ranges, like A set or 0, 9. Those are like ranges we find or help each other or from hand to hand, they are shared. And this one matches most of this kind of emojis. But there is maybe 10 different type of them or an increasing number. Those are other ranges. Sometimes the flags has a separate range. Mac OS specific characters, free characters. So I found a list on this URL. Please have a look. Or sometimes we just merge with an or all of them, or in this square bracket. Yes, good. And with this one, I match all these three. I forgot to put the output. Sorry. And here I am not hard coding it anymore. This range is enough for. And this already provide you, like when you have 1 million tweets, it's not very hard to have 1 million tweets. You can easily get all emojis immediately. Put them based on their frequency and see what's going. And there are some basic stuff you can do, not advanced or not to rely on, but I am aware of good specific work using this information. So what is a word? We don't have a good definition for a word. It is specific. If you restrict it based on the sequence of alphanumeric characters without a space, what would you call to the multi-word expressions? What would you call to the words with a hyphen? So we don't have it, or what? How should we interpret this? I want to use this information. Maybe it means something surprising or something being confused. Or these emojis, are these words? So we don't call them words for now, and we say tokens. They are tokens for us. And without being aware of this, or before Twitter era, we in a standard writing style, when we have the rules set about how to write something, then we would easily say, okay, a word is this, this, but not this, or any punctuation mark. So we had rules, but with Twitter or new types of platforms, we have our necessities or our curiosity to explore something. So we need to extend it and see whether it's useful. I don't say it is really certainly useful. Sometimes increasing your feature space is harmful. So you need to do feature search. But anyway, let's start Pro. With this one, this means the standard. I will show you from the pointer. Yeah, this is here, the standard word. Here we allow a hyphen. This is sequence of multi-word characters, like sequence of characters separated with a hyphen. Digits, with a dot or a comma, usernames. Yeah, this is after a comma digit. Usernames or hash tags, and then all possible emojis I found in 2016. This was from 2016. Any combination of these two that are longer, that are between 2 and 4 length. So I'm not interested if there is only one single question mark. I'm interested if they are in combination in any order and up to 4 characters. Otherwise, if I get to 5, 6, 7, 8, and they are not frequent enough, maybe they will just increase number of features. So it was enough for me. And do it on this string, this S2, and in a case insensitive manner. And this is the feature list I got. So this one, what I have is these two are in the Unicode representation due to their number of bytes. Sometimes you get these additional characters, like this one, the Turkish flag are matched based on these regular expressions as 2 separate characters, and it is all about representation. To get it right, you would need to insert the right range that covers this one before the range that split those. Otherwise, if you put it after it, it would, again, whatever it sees, it will be consumed, we call it, and then the appropriate correct regular expression will not have a chance to match it. There is this kind of, anyway, I left it intentionally for you to be able to talk about these issues. Sequence of question marks are accepted as well. So this doesn't enforce like, okay, you should only have the combinations. It allows the to be used as one single token. Yeah, and this representation may be more helpful, at least at the beginning. But in text processing, we have the curse of dimensionality. If you have too many features, you will have other problems. So it all depends on your case. One more thing I would like to show, it is not known that much. This one with the backslash in front of it means the group, the first group in this pattern. So this one. If I had another group, it would be number 2. So if the same pattern, like the first group occurs, and I prefer here to put it immediately after it, there could be any other pattern in between. Then match it. And this one is for characters. It could be for pattern. It could be a word or any combination of characters. So here we are not really hard coding the word notion. And any word that contains a duplication of characters comes. And this is another abstraction. So I don't need to say if T and T come after each other, bring me. If P and P come after each other, bring me. So I don't need to hard code it. I can start to think in terms of more abstract rules. And this gives me flexibility. I borrowed this example from there, and just go to Stack Overflow. They have been talking about those stuff intensively for decades. One last thing. Once upon a time, I was trying for some feature in regular expressions. The standard module wasn't supporting it. Then I came across the Regex module. It is semi-official. It is working to replace the standard RE module in Python, because to be honest, the Python regular expression engine is old, like all Python components. They are all being modernized. Python started in 90s and with a lot of assumptions, and it wasn't performant. It was supporting a Unicode. It has many issues, and all components are being modernized, let's say. And regular expression is the next. It will be more standard, less gotchas. For instance, 0-bit matches, like the character at the beginning or end of the word is 0 match. So it doesn't consume any character. And you can't split on it, for instance. Python doesn't recognize it. You need to find other tricks to solve this issue. The Unicode support is not full. There was some plan. I was expecting this change, but I haven't seen this effect. Maybe I am missing some additional settings. So it is quite hard to do all these settings in your operating system and in the library from the OS module, for instance, and then maybe it may work. So it is not the optimal. It is improving it. Fuzzy matches, quite helpful for us, text processing, and speed. The Python has GIL, global interpreter locks. The standard Python can do only one single process or step at a time. It locks the rest, even if you are using multi-threading. And just recently, maybe a couple of years, there has been ways or explorations to release this lock. And how would you release this lock and not harm or overwrite things in your CPU or RAM, for instance? So still things to be done, but or something has been done. There is some progress, and this Regex module is supporting this much faster approach. So it is the feature of Regex. It is backward compatible. You can set it with a parameter like I want the old behavior thing. So if you make it your standard thing, you may not even feel the difference, but you may be able to use additional features. Please go to its website and keep it in your radar. You don't need to use it. The standard module is more than enough for many scenarios. But if you do anything on very big data with very large or extensive patterns, then you will need to have a look and find one single thing that will help you really a lot. You can try things like I'm only 3 minutes late. Frequency list of emojis. What verbs are followed by slowly? Not slow, but slowly. I didn't show the look ahead or look behind. If you are really curious about it, let me know. I can provide you with examples, or the documentation shows it. The other slides has a notebook I borrowed from another place that has tons of examples for you and a lot of links. That's it from me. Thanks a lot. I don't see the excitement yet. I hope I hope to see it after you run a couple of regular expressions. It needs to develop. I completely understand you. I was forced to write regular expressions for 5 months. So then after 5 months, the enlightenment came. And you are forced enough. Anyway, it was the main aim to inspire you. It is mostly ignored, or did I show you yeah, the standard pattern of, I didn't highlight it. Play from, yeah, the standard scikit-learn token is this. If you go to the source code, maybe very slightly different. It is if a sequence of alphanumeric characters, this \w, we call it alphanumeric characters, is 2 or more length, use it as a token. And you have the possibility to adjust it using this, any part of it, not maybe all, maybe just emojis or just this part or digits, completely up to you. Yep. Any comment or question?